John the Eye Pouch, Chapter 33. A black boot stepped on the first rung, followed by a second boot. John squinted against the dim candlelight, but thought the boots were too small to belong to Blackbeard. Another step down the ladder, and swaying skirt came into view. Anne. She was slow to reach the bottom of the ladder, with a candle in one hand and a leather book in the other. Even she needed to duck slightly due to the low ceiling of the room. She stepped next to John's cell, and they stared at each other. Emotions roiled within him, and he wanted to blurt out all of his anger all at once, telling her that she betrayed his friendship, stole his chance of getting his family back together, and that she was acting every bit as much as a pirate as her father, Blackbeard. Had he been any different? He was just as ruthless as his mom. He used cannons to shoot holes in towers just so he could talk to Anne. Your friends all got away, Anne said. I'm sure you're disappointed, John said. Harm was not my intent. What was all that talk of surrender or die? You try being Blackbeard's daughter. I thought you said he never kills people, John said. Reputation does most of his work. Anne took a step closer to the cell. The things I say in public don't represent my feelings. John scooted closer to the bars. You've come to give me my eye patch back? Anne took one last step forward, so she was close enough to touch the bars. Her blue eyes stayed focused on John. You have two good eyes, she said in surprise. Yes? Then how come you always wear that eye patch? I expected one of your eyes to be cut out, or even worse. She leaned in, her forehead touching the bars, so she could get a better look at John. The eye patch is magic, John cringed, instantly regretting revealing the magic of the eye patch to her. It would be harder to convince her to give it back now. He had to convince her it would be worthless to her. The magic only works for me. It lets me travel between my home and here, and that's it. Your home in the mini caravan suburbs? Anne asked. Well, not exactly. We just call them minivans. But yes, that's basically it, John said. I've been having strange dreams, John of the Eye Patch, of your mini caravans. Houses full of children laughing, smiles and joy, no cannons or muskets or hanged men. It sort of seems like paradise. She smiled as she talked, looking downward. Apparently she was enjoying her happy fantasy. Maybe I can take you there someday, John said. It's true then, this magic. Yes, it's true. And you need my help. Anne held up a small leather book. I copied my father's logs, just like you asked. Thank you, John said, remembering asking for the logs the last time he was in Nassau. I needed those to find the treasure chest. It's a chest that travels in time, but we found it. But the amulet you wear is part of the chest, and it won't work without it. Anne pinned the leather book under her arm so she could clutch the amber medallion hanging from her necklace. My father gave me this after I hit my head, and he told me it was to remember. It came from a Spanish treasure chest, one with magic powers. More time travel? Yes, it brought my mom here. Your mom? You've probably heard of her. Mary the Unmerciful. That's your mom? Anne cried out in delight. Imagine that. Me, the daughter of a pirate king, and you, the son of an Amazonian pirate. I know, quite the pair. John and Anne looked into each other's eyes. Anne laughed first, and soon John joined her. Jolly giggles filled the corners of the basement with the unexpected coziness. If I let you go, you'll just take my necklace and go? Anne touched the medallion again, her finger dragging along the smooth curve of the metal holding the stone. Just the medallion, John said. I'll even sneak out through that hole. He pointed to the crack in the wall that his cannon attack had made. No one will even know you let me go. Anne walked away from the cell to a small cabinet on the far wall. She opened it and took out a large key. She unlocked John's cell. John scrambled out of the cage, even though the ceiling wasn't any higher outside the cage. Just being free seemed to make the basement seem twice as big as it had been. John stretched his arms and legs as best he could. Thank you, he said. Anne smiled at him. She unclasped her necklace, and she slid the medallion off the gold chain. The hatch slammed open. Boots raced down the ladder. Not slender boots like Anne's, but massive boots that could only belong to one man. Blackbeard. Blackbeard had hunched over double to fit into the small basement. His massive size seemed to fill half of the space. Thief! Scoundrel! His deep, raspy voice seemed stolen from a dragon. His hand, he had darted faster than John could have thought possible. He plucked the amber medallion from Anne's hand. I don't want any trouble. John backed away from the giant pirate. Want and have are often mismatched. Blackbeard pulled one of the pistols from the bandolier, crossing his chest. Not like this. Anne stepped between Blackbeard and John. She grabbed her father's wrist, keeping the pistol aimed away from John. The leather-bound logbook fell from under her arm. John could tell she wouldn't be able to hold her father off for very long.